Yes, everyone, resize your windows and get ready.
Sí.
Sí, gracias.
Welcome to Everyone Racers,
a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing
and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of Limachamp or Lucky Track Dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate.
as long as you drive it hard and build it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions,
tips and tricks, as well as news and notes
from the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot, hello sweet and lucky enough, and Chrissy.
And I give you just the tip.
We're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm El Jefe.
and
we are Everyone Racers. It is a Spanish groundhog. I don't know.
Oh, that's too much.
Spanish and groundhog in Spanish. We are recording on February 2nd. So welcome to the Groundhog episode. We are recording on February 2nd. So welcome to the Groundhog episode.
Marmota is how you say it.
Thank you. Somebody's got Google Translate on their phone ready to go. But anyway, we are Everyone Racers and welcome to a Groundhog. I'm not going to do it a third time.
Okay, fine.
It is episode 281. If you're not driving a Chevy pickup with a kidnapped groundhog, don't drive while angry. Don't drive while angry. Check out our E1R bingo card, which we guarantee will not make your winter last longer. Mental, what you working on?
No está aquí.
Mental no está aquí. Trabajando. Trabajando, yes. Demasiado como el jefe marcado en tu cartón de bingo. Lo siento. That's what Mental says.
Everyone who actually speaks Spanish is yelling
Horrified.
at or laughing.
Oh, sure. Yes. We'll talk about why.
Okay, Chris.
Mental ain't here. He working.
Chris, what are you working on?
Yo estaba muy borracho en México. Ahora tenemos frío.
Sí, muy frío. Estoy mucho borracha. Borracha. Lo siento. No, lo siento.
I actually stayed in America in the last week or so.
Got it.
No, I did leave Jersey because I went to Pennsylvania. I had funerals and football. So go
we
Eagles.
We had football in Mexico too.
Yes, we did.
The announcing was in Spanish, but we still saw it.
He still watched the Eagles.
And we found the other four Eagles fans.
Four Eagles fans. And we said, yep. As soon as we picked them out, we said, where are you from? They said, Plymouth Meeting. I said, okay. I said, hi. And they're like, where are you from? Reading. Okay, cool.
For those who don't speak Spanish, why don't you say where you were and what you did?
We went to Mexico. North of Cancun, but on the Yucatan there at a resort that we quite like for Chrissy's birthday.
Wow.
It was lovely.
Great.
Again.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Chrissy.
Gracias.
Elated. I think I messaged you or something.
That's
Facebook.
fine.
I don't remember.
No problem.
Yep. Out of the country.
It was Monday. I had so many birthday cakes and sand art and so many people wished me happy birthday. It was great. Besides the internet. Thank you, internet, but also
custom 5-course dinner that took 2 hours.
Wow.
You name it.
Pretty much. Yeah. No, it was great. We had a great time. We had one day of full rain. We made do. So all's well. Getting back to the real world is very harsh. We had to wear pants today and shoes.
Damn pants.
Oh, shoes. And I was like, why is not everybody handing me a mimosa this morning? I'm like, oh, I'm at work. It's frowned upon since I'm the safety lady. So there's that. But we did watch Eagle.
Well, we're glad you're back from the White Lotus.
We are back.
And can join us for the show, right?
And life.
Yeah.
Because we're home now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, in case you missed it, there has been news other than the Eagles making the Super Bowl. And we're going to cover some of it in News and Notes time.
Okay, from Annie Profit and our buddies at Racing Junk, there is the tale of Garage 56 entry for the 2023 Le Mans race. That's the big one in France. 2023 is the 100th anniversary of the legendary endurance race, and Garage 56 traditionally is for cars and drivers that are not part of the categories dictated by the FIA, WEC, Le Mans, or even IMSA. In the past, it's been occupied by significant entries like the Delta Wing.
Love the Delta Wing.
This year is getting a dangle Camaro. Hendrick Motorsports is bringing the next generation Camaro ZL1, celebrating NASCAR's 75th anniversary in June. Cup Series champion, a whole bunch of cool people that were in this. There's just words all over the place. 2009 F1 champion Jason Button will co-drive, and the Camaro as the Garage 56 entry for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Jensen has only driven the car in a simulator until this week, testing at Daytona, while Button has driven lots of sports cars and endurance races. He's retained Corvette racer Jordan Taylor as coach. At the introduction of the drivers, Button actually said, "This is a total surprise. I was on the way to Disneyland and I took a wrong road." So regardless of the outcome, we know it's going to be crazy fun. With 3 champions at the wheel, ideally the Camaro will fare better than the 1976 NASCAR Le Mans effort from Bill France, because both of these cars broke. We will not see it in person, but it'll be great.
No, I watched the Daytona 24 over this last weekend, and it has reminded me how excellent yet annoying coverage is of these races in America. Like every hour, switch to different streaming that you might not own.
Yeah.
Switch back in 2 hours when it'll be free
Yep,
again.
yep. I know exactly what you're dealing with. Yeah.
Bummer.
Anyway,
fun.
I'm excited to see the big. They're sort of NASCARs perform, because they're
We'll see how they do.
different suspensions and things. Go on. What else we
You
got?
know what's always fun? A Miata.
Yeah.
Because Miata is always the answer. In
keep
fact,
telling you this.
that's what Miata stands for, right? So, hey, think about that if you didn't get it. So, but you know that the Miata is also immortal? Well, not exactly, but this week, Mazda Europe CEO Martin Tenbrink told Autocar, and we quote, "The car, quote, will never die," adding that, "I think it will continue to exist forever and will have to go with the times." How? Well, that's going to be decided on technology and regulations that make the idea of a simple, lightweight roadster a little more challenging. But Brink continued discussing the ubiquitous sports car's future in an electrified landscape, saying that's a super challenge and people are passionate about this car. He also conceded that the specifics are not clear, as he closed with, "How do you stay true to the concept of what the car stands for, taking it into the next generation of technologies?" That's not been decided, but I think for Mazda, it would be fair to say the MX-5 will never die.
Agreed.
Viva los Miatas!
Definitely. Isn't this like when the 928 was being discussed at Porsche, and it had like the timeline, and it ended here, the 928 picked up there, and the guy took the marker and he went like
The 911, you mean? Yeah.
911, yeah. He went to the end of the board and then down the hall and then out the door. And he says, "That's how long Porsche is going to sell a 911."
He wasn't wrong.
It wasn't wrong yet.
Yep.
Here you go. Are you an F1 fan? If you are, I'm sure you're watching all the social medias and looking at all the granular rumors about who's pissed at who and blah, 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 blah. But there is actual news this week. In the next 2 weeks or so, all of the teams will be revealing their 2023 cars and liveries. And there's usually like new jackets and shirts and hats you can buy on their website, of course. Some will show full digital renderings of cars, and some will show past cars with next year's paint jobs. Nobody's going to show the actual car until like they start testing, because God forbid you let another team see what your fins and things look like.
No.
But this is the biggest week for livery fans, and you know I am one. And we're going to talk really quickly. As you hear this pod, it is most likely Red Bull has either shown their new car or is already going to show their car. But they've already created some controversy. According to their announcement, they are promising that it is going to be the, quote, biggest thing ever that they are going to reveal.
I'm sure it is.
They're doing it in
Biggest
New York.
Ever.
So this is going to be the very first time that a car was debuted in America.
All right.
They're going to be doing it with an actual car. And rumors are out there that Ford is somehow involved, because they have been paying social media influencers to be at the event and cover it. But there is no official partnership yet between Red Bull and Ford. So it's all just rumors, maybe a new engine partner. I don't know. They just opened their engine. Who can tell what this is? Adding hints to this, their Twitter account, this is the Red Bull official Twitter account, showed an all-white car saying 2023 is a blank canvas, hinting on big changes with a car that basically has always looked the same. Red Bull looks like Red Bull. It's blue. It's red. Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, car always looks the same. So who knows? I said there was actual news.
I was going to say, you've just told us that the internet lies. And
the actual news is that out of the block, winning the race so far, Haas. Haas has released images of their car, and might I say it looks fantastic. In case you don't know, they have a new sponsor, MoneyGram. It came out. It is, I would say, mostly black.
Kind of is.
With a lot
Depends
of
on the
red.
angle. Like from the side, it's black. Upper, you
the
see
top
more white,
is
and then
white.
you get the red too. Yep.
Yeah. I kind of dig it. I'm excited.
It's different.
Like Haas. I think I might become a Haas fan. I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. Gunther.
He likes lovable losers.
Yeah,
That's
it's probably it. Yeah. I don't know. I'm reading the book about how they got scammed by Rich Aaron. Anyway, here are the dates. January 31st, Haas already came out. February 3rd, Red Bull comes out. February 6th, Williams. There is discussion about a Gulf livery in Williams. Alfa Romeo on this February 7th. AlphaTauri on the 11th. Aston Martin on the 13th. McLaren on the 13th also. Ferrari on the 14th. Mercedes on the 15th, and Alpine on February 16th. So by the 16th, every single buddy will have their stuff out.
Next 2 weeks are going to be, the internet will be full again.
Yes.
Because they
all the F1 journalists left something to write about.
Yay!
I don't know. What do y'all think about liveries? You care? Do you care
No.
what they look like?
Not really.
Oh, I do. I'm so excited.
I'll look at them a bit and say like, oh, that's good. Or
yeah,
don't
or
really
like,
care for
oh,
them.
that's awful. But I think most of it is so that they're identifiable and you remember which team is which.
Yes.
So sometimes when the colors are too close, then you're just like, who is that? So sure.
Yeah, they don't really mean the country anymore, which is how they originally started.
Well, because they're mostly based in England at this point
Right, yeah.
too. So
Right. And whoever owns,
All right. Well,
Whatever
I'm
colors they
excited,
like.
and I'll be watching.
Great.
okay,
You can tell us what we are missing.
great, Jeff.
Super. Okay, let's talk racing. Racing ain't cheap, even when it comes to cheap racing, but racingjunk.com can help you make it more affordable. Are you ready to upgrade to a purpose-built single-seat option cockpit race car with active aero and downforce? Look no further than this LeGrand Mark 18 Sports Racer. It is an all-original. Can somebody love this? Thank you. It is an all-original, unmolested, so you don't have to do somebody else's modifications or undo or do modifications. Is it powered by a 1,000cc Kawasaki engine? Comes with logbooks dating back to 1974, completely serviced, up-to-date chassis with bushing joints, as well as a new fuel cell, shocks, and springs. It comes with a set of spare carbs and cylinder head. It even has bodywork along with 2 sets of wheels. It's in Sierra Madre, California, and it can be yours for $15,000.
That certainly looks like race car, like a real race car. So that's fun.
What do you do with it?
Drive it around.
Where?
Oh, I'm
the
sure
track.
there is a NASA and SCCA that will class this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's DSR, right? D Sport Racer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. There you
So
go.
if I remember correctly, that all has to do with like engine size and weight, right?
Yeah.
So you can mess with the engine size and get it into different classes and things.
And you can fulfill your old like chaparral driver fantasies with that thing. That's kind of what it looks like.
sexy. Look at those ITBs.
Only if you
Yeah.
wear a leather cap while you're doing it.
Oh, they were wearing real helmets by that point, but
Just barely.
cotton suits. Yeah.
They were sprayed, with something to stop them from catching fire.
Good.
That's a
Ham.
serious machine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Whoa. In case you didn't hear that, that was upcoming races as it clipped away from my microphone. Lemon
Oh.
season opener at Barber is coming. It's next weekend? This weekend.
It's this weekend. People are driving there now.
Wow. Well, that's right, because of the rally's on. 116 cars, 24 BMWs. Oh,
That's fine. That's not bad.
It's
25% of the field there almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
6 Miatas, 12 Hondas, 2 Porsches.
12
Fifth host
Hondas.
Eric Rude notes a Volkswagen powered Mopar, a Mopar powered Mitsubishi, a Mitsubishi powered Mopar, a Saab powered Fiero, a
Nice.
Mazda powered Borgward,
Even
a
better.
Honda powered Hyundai, and a GM
Excellent.
powered Volvo.
This is awesome.
Wow. Yes, Anton has shipped his, it's a 3800, right? 3800. No.
30. It's like a 3900. It's the smaller high value V6, not the old Buick one.
It's the high value V6.
Yeah.
Wow. Anton shipped his, what is that thing? Amazon.
Well, 544.
Thank you. 544 from California. And
Should I just tell it the story?
Yeah, do you want to just help us
Sure.
with this? Thank you.
No, it's
slated
too
to
late
race
now.
at Thunderhill in 2 weeks, so it's going to stay. There you go. What was
It's
that?
Anton's. It'll probably be
Yeah,
fine.
it's Anton's. It's his little Volvo deal.
Yep.
We all know what it is.
Yep. All right. Champ Cars just up the road at Road Atlanta for their 14-hour season ender. Okay. The TireRack.com National Championship. There are 89 cars. 27 are BMWs. It's even more boring. It's a shame. 20 Miatas. Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yee.
So that's 47. More than half the field is a BMW or a Miata.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy.
3
Wow.
Hondas, 7 Porsches. But someone's cool. They brought their 01 Dodge Stratus RT. That's screams real race car right there.
All right.
Good luck.
Stratus.
You're right. Seriously.
Go for it.
Stratus.
Go for it.
Hey, I already mentioned it, but I'll mention it again. The LeMans Rally Retreat from Moscow is happening as we speak. I checked this morning, earlier today, and it's a two-team race right now. Rally, not a race. 2 teams are leading. Angry Birds in their 02 Thunderbird, and Big Kids Racing in their 2008 Scion XD. If you have not seen the pictures, of course, Instagram, use the hashtag LeMans Rally. See it all. Some of it looks fantastic. There's a Suzuki Samurai that I absolutely love and would like to see. It's totally clapped out. There's no top on it. They like put like a wooden deck on it to put their crap on. It's
That's excellent.
fantastic.
Wow.
They could not source an oil cap before the beginning of the rally and have been whittling logs and putting on like urethane gloves with rubber bands the entire time.
No problem. No failing.
People keep sending them suggestions like, try and get a Geo Metro. That's the same motor. He's like, no, they don't have it. They don't have it. Nobody has an oil cap.
Out of all the things you would think that you would be missing and it would be a problem, an oil
I
cap
think that's
is
the kind of thing that you start with, but then you get there and you're like, it's gone.
maybe that's the thing. Yes. Okay. Listener feedback. In honor of Dry January that we are not participating in, we posted, I guess it was Mental, an IG pic of a Healthy Station cooler in a convenience store just outside of Sonoma that was full of wine. It is amazing.
It
Yep.
has an exclamation mark even to say it's a healthy
Healthy
station.
Station. I agree with said healthy Station. It's pretty awesome.
And who else agrees? Too much metal. Says this checks out.
Too much metal.
BA Auto Repair says, grapes are healthy, right?
I totally agree. NVR Rod Dog. There we go. See, that's what I've been saying for years. I agree.
And Fiasco Rally says, my not quite dry January needs a healthy station on occasion.
Our boy Tim Burman said, that's a healthy amount of fun in that fridge.
I agree.
Now, going back to our Topig episode on YouTube, Will S. mentioned one we missed. The Nissan NV 3500 HD 12-passenger van is perfect.
Where can
So
you
it's-
find one of them?
Wow.
They're hen's teeth, but yeah,
Oh.
totes 8,700 pounds very well. Queen
Wow.
airbed fits perfectly in back. Comes standard with tow package, trans cooler, pre-wired for a brake controller. 110 outlets front and back to air up or charge tools. And unlike most vans, the cab doesn't sit over the engine, so it's easy to access. He bought it new, has over 150,000 with no problems at all. The only problem is that they are so freaking ugly.
They're ugly.
Hideous. But
I mean,
hey,
nobody
they work.
buys a van because it looks good.
In the 70s, you did.
Well,
Yeah.
They were weird in the 70s. You know who was weird in the 70s?
I don't. Oh, maybe.
Maybe, right? Chrissy's mom. Hi, Chrissy's mom.
Everyone was a little weird in the 70s.
Right? I mean,
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it
Are we
time?
getting to the main topic?
I guess so.
Sure.
Man,
That
how
was
much
waiting for-
faster things go without mental here. This is quick. Wow.
Main topic time. Someone intro this.
okay. It's me. Chris, is your idea. Do you want to start out?
You're the safety lady.
Okay.
I'll add on.
Finding and living within your own personal safety limits. That's what we're talking about today. Where is that line that you have your own internal risk management department says, I think we're done here. So how do you find that? How do you deal with it? We're going to talk about our own limits. We're going to talk about some mostly racing. We've got some other ideas to just make you have a little bit more thought-provoking. Think about why you are the way you are when it comes to limits.
Yeah, I thought of this the other day. It was based on pilot stuff that you're supposed to have your own personal safety limits. Like I will not fly if I have a crosswind component, more than X, or visibility less than Y, or things like that.
Oh, okay. So these are in air flight school that you like write them down, right?
Yeah, well, it forces you to think about them. And I thought, well, hang on, this totally applies to racing too. Not just in other things in life, get your safe word. That's good. But there's times, especially when you're in the heat of the moment, you get an emotional decision. But if you've already said, no, hang on, this is my rational limit, it makes you really think about it and question your potentially emotional reaction to it. So, and I've definitely had quite a number of occasions where I've hit my safety limit on track for a whole bunch of different reasons. So thought it was worth a talk.
Yeah. Do you want to do like your list down there, or do you want to go to my first?
No, let's just go through. I like the way we're set up here. Let's move through that.
Okay.
Then we get to the meat of it before the end.
I threw this down there and I said, there definitely is times when there are hard limits. Things that you don't want to do, you have no interest in doing, and you flat out decided that it's not worth the risks. And I put one down that was not track related, but I also have some track related ones too. And I just they're I always think about the internal risk manager. I think I might have wrote that down somewhere.
You did. That's what was the intro. Yes.
Yeah. It's not about whether you're going to die or not. It's whether you've decided that this is worth it. And skydiving, I have decided, is not worth it to me. I don't have a whole lot of desire. And there's something about the loss of, there's only fall. It's freaking falling, right? I don't care what you think you're doing. You're falling. You have no control. No, I don't want to do it. I don't have any desire to do it. I understand it might feel good, feel wind, and like, ooh, I'm flying. You're not flying. You're effing falling.
This goes against your New Year's resolution every year. Don't fall down.
Oh, you were right.
Look, I have a cousin who is an Army Ranger and who would eat steel, and he is an airborne ranger. And I say, do you like jumping out of the airplane? He says, no, it's my job, but I don't do it because I like it.
I think that's kind of where Hamza has said. He
Yeah.
did that for a while.
So that's a hard limit for me. No. Hey, Jeff, you want to go skydiving? No.
Interesting. I am surprised and impressed about how passionate you are, but that's great.
Oh, I've given it thought.
I'm sure you did because you wrote this section.
Yeah. All right. So aside from things that are just obviously bad, like bungee jumping with a regular rope, like, not that, I would say I have no interest in going like significant cave diving, like scuba cave diving. There is just so much that can go so poorly, so quickly, and then you're just done. Yeah, it doesn't seem worth it to me. There are other exciting things I can do.
caving on land would be okay, and diving without a cave would be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
But
just
just
checking. I'm just checking.
putting the two of them together seems like, all right, now you've just like multiplied your danger factors.
Your risk manager is saying this is a little
Mhm.
out of the realm.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a good one here. I usually say I like to do things twice because the first time isn't always the most exciting or didn't always go the way you planned. So I don't have a problem with skydiving. I've never gone, but I don't have a problem with it. I like all of these extreme sports, probably not bungee jumping with a rope, but a bungee
So it's a terrible idea.
is okay. So I have a general concern about helplessness. That's not really a hard limit. That's the kind of thing that I guess both of yours are like, if you're out of control or things can go really wrong, I guess that's also, I agree.
I would definitely say control is part of it in my book.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause,
Mhm.
like, I rock climb. I don't want to
You do?
jump.
You rock climb?
Yeah.
Well,
Ye-
recently.
Like
yeah.
recently?
I mean, right before COVID, yeah, indoor.
Okay.
I'm going in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Cool.
Yes. So I don't have a good example
Yes.
there because
So we are not just massive daredevils like our families all think. Oh, you go racing, it's so dangerous.
I mean it's
Yeah.
legit safer.
Flying a little
than-
plane or
Yeah, I mean that too.
stuff
But
too.
it's safer than driving the Schuylkill.
Yeah. Okay. All right. If Mental were here, I'm sure you would have something
I'm sure.
philosophical to say about this entire thing.
Well, he can
Mental
give
notes.
us some news and notes.
Yes. All right. Now let's talk about on the track, because that's obviously what we're here to talk mostly about. So do you guys want to talk in general how you feel about it? And then we'll get into some more specific points about things that I've thought of
Sure.
ways that are possibly there.
I like your list. I think I want to start with your list.
All right, let's go to the list then.
Okay.
All right, first general thought I had is, what is your personal limit on how you feel? Like your personal health, wellness, body. There is a time where it's not right. We've all seen people puke after getting out of a car, or pass
down.
out,
Yep.
or fall down, or any of those things, or puke in the car, even like any of those things. Where's your line and how you feel?
Go ahead, Chris, if you got it, because I'm still brewing.
I do. The problem is that I can be talked out of my personal limit, which means it's not my limit, if my teammates are telling me to keep going. I have fallen out of the car at Thompson. I fell down. You had to because
once you got,
it's extremely hot.
It's very hot.
Once you got inside the fence. It wasn't out of the car. It was in, and so your adrenaline was keeping you going. Once you got out of the fence, you said, all right, I'm done.
Yes, but I might have felt bad in the car. Yeah. And I say, well, I can't get out because the car still has gas and we're winning. So if I get out, then we're going to lose. So I probably talked myself out of, you can keep going for a little while. You don't need to get out yet. But I feel like I've been pretty bad. On the flip side, I have driven hungover and we weren't trying to win. And I got out of the car and said, I'm going to park this because I am not helping anybody. I am being in danger because I am not driving predictably for how the car has been driving. And I blame it on Chris because he gave me too many White Claws. And so yes,
I'm usually the one handing you the White Claws.
Are those the Zima ones? What are those?
Surge.
Do
not give me a surge
Always
at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Surge is never a good idea.
Well, no, but I think what you just said there is probably your limit. That when you're
in
the car,
yep,
you can keep going, but going into the car not right.
Yeah,
will keep you out of it.
And I can convince myself for a little while, you're doing okay. And I was like, well, all these cars are passing me and I look unpredictable. I look broken or something like that. And I don't feel great. So I said, I'm just going to get out. That's only happened maybe once, but.
Yeah. It's heat that does it for me, is that if I get too hot, I just cease to function. I've had heat stroke before. It's terrible. And it's recognizing when it's coming and trying to do something about it and seeing if you can solve that problem enough or not. And usually, fortunately, cool shirts work well enough. At the end of Thompson in 2020, I mean, my cool shirt wasn't working. We couldn't stop to fix it because we were in a very close race. So we just kind of dealt with it. But I had enough fluids in me and had enough water with me to keep going. And I was, looked like I swam into the paddock when I was done, but I kept it going. But the time that I did stop was at Buttonwillow about a year and a half ago, out driving the Porsche. And it was really hot because it was Buttonwillow and there was no air movement. And the cool shirt, I didn't have the right fittings to plug into it. And the 944 had very little air movement through it at all. And so I was getting hot. I knew I was off. I wasn't performing as well as I wanted to and should have been and had been. And you just feel wrong, like to the point where I was zipping my race suit open part way just to try to get some coolness there, putting your hand out anytime it's at a straightish, just to get some air blowing at me. And eventually I just realized I was not getting any better. And I was worried I was going to make a mistake and I did not want to break someone else's car or cause any problems. So I came in, got some water, cooled off. 15 minutes later, felt fine. No problem. But it was just that condition of the car without any air movement, no cool shirt, hot weather. Yeah, it was too much.
Yeah, I've talked on the podcast about early in my career dealing with probably dehydration and cramps, leg cramps specifically, where I was definitely probably nearing my safety limit because not being able to, and it was almost always the boat. So it probably had something to do with seating position. Had to do with probably me not taking care well of myself as much as I do now. And leg cramps make it very difficult to do what you need to do in a race car.
How about like move and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, it's not that you can move. It's just are you going to be moving the way you need to be?
No, I meant like,
can you move your foot to your to the brake?
Right,
Oh,
right.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
especially over and over and over again.
Yeah, and it's almost always like my inner thigh on the gas pedal foot. So that would be the braking foot. But I never really had a problem with that. It was always just like, okay, I'm gonna rub my thigh and make it go away. And if it doesn't go away, I'm gonna have to do something. And if it doesn't, and you could still drive with it. You just have to like not.
I get them in
my
my calves, and it's like debilitating. Like I can't move my leg. So that's what I was picturing and saying, like, I would not be very good driver.
Not very good driver, absolutely. But
Right.
That's definitely, what is happening. I have worked around it, so I wouldn't say that it has given me the thought to go in. It has made me wish my shift was going to end real soon. I have felt woozy every now and then. I would say it is not very often and not lately, but sometimes you catch the vapors and you're like, oh, I might puke. And as soon as you say in your head you might puke, it gets worse.
Yeah, totally.
So then you have to start saying to yourself,
I'm not going to puke.
I'm not going to puke. Crack the visor a little and try and refocus yourself. And that would get me out. If I puked, I couldn't imagine.
I don't get that way. I don't get pukey.
It's rare. I mean, 2 or 3 times in my 10-year plus career, but when it hits you, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Ask Ralph.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or Eric.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
Mhm.
and I've been hungry and tired and
Oh, yeah.
cold and hot. And I don't think that bothers me as much as like like physical pain. Like that leg cramp was way worse than any I'm sweating, I'm not able to focus.
Like psychological
It's
type.
yeah, like
thing.
it's psychological. Like I clearly remember like sweating so much that I was, like trying to adjust my balaclava so that the sweat would stay out of my eyes,
Mhm.
and just knowing that I'm roasting, and the cool suit doesn't work, or you can't find your drink tube, or
Oh, right.
you
No,
know,
I will
like,
come.
that
I'll come
happens.
in,
Yeah.
find my drink tube. That was just going to say that. I said, if I don't have water, I will die.
Yep. Pretty
And
much.
I will not be successful.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna go with pain and puke.
Got it.
All right.
Good.
All right. Next one. This is not about you. This is about the track. Either a track design or condition that you will say, you know what? No. And I've got a great one to start with. Englishtown road course.
I'm there.
Never again. Absolutely not. I did it once, and nope. The design is so terrible. There are walls at terrible places. There are spots where if you miss a braking zone too much, you go into traffic. It is so hella dangerous. I am just not interested in that at all. Yes.
I think, and maybe it was just many of parts of the conditions plus the design, Palmer in the rain.
Okay.
Standing
Yep.
rain.
Palmer, yeah. So for those that don't know, it's in Massachusetts. It's kind of carved into a mountain and has
There's no
boulders
runoff, right?
boulders
everywhere.
They're boulders, but there's also just rock cliffs. Like if you could just hit a mountain, basically.
So maybe in the dry, not again in the wet, because I was in the wet when it was actively pouring, plus a track that I didn't know well, plus a new track. I'm pretty sure it was very, very new.
Yeah, they just built the garages the day before.
Right. So, and I stepped in a mud puddle up to my knees. I think Palmer, maybe Palmer in the dry, never again Palmer in the wet.
Another thing I'll throw out there. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
I was gonna say, so, and I did not have enough time to get through it, but my alarm bells were going off, and this was in terrible weather conditions, down the hill in Road Atlanta.
Yeah, in the snow.
In the snow, it was
Oh, yeah.
slushy, snowy.
Agreed.
And every time I went under that bridge, I said, I am not going to race down this hill. I am going to preserve my life.
Just down the hill? There were so many other places that were
down
ice
the hill.
line.
But down the hill
the
is
biggest pucker.
terrifying.
Sure.
Terrifying.
There's no runoff at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, it goes right into that wall.
Yeah.
And I saw that wall every time, and I said, I know the line is over there. I know I should be hitting this way harder, and I'm not going to do it.
I feel like I was a little scared sometimes in the dry because it's blind and
no, you're right. It's blind.
Yeah. And if you go actually straight, you go into pit. So you know that you have to go to the right, but you don't feel like you should in the blind. And so I agree. I like that. But I think the snow is a huge,
and it was
huge
snowy, slushy, melty mess. So I don't know if I ever really got any dry. Maybe I did a little on day 2, but it was not. It was still. I wasn't there yet.
You should have gotten some track time, because I'm pretty sure I didn't drive that weekend.
Yeah. I had also rode Atlanta in Hamza's car though. When it was raining heavily, the mist on the back straight, or the long straight at Road Atlanta, you couldn't see some cars. And there was that like a Mustang with a diesel Mercedes engine that would only go like 85, and you never knew when you're going to come up on it. And it was the color of dark asphalt. So you could not see it, and they had no lights on it. And that made it really tough.
It's not really straight, and it's kind of blind.
Yeah.
If you're coming up over some hills, and so it's not like you can just drive straight and hope. Right.
Yeah. I was absolutely just defensive driving during a lot of that shift, just because there's just so much out here that it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
But
Isn't that where Betty took its first hit in the nose?
it was totally dry.
No, but I mean, it was on the back straight.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah. But it was totally dry at the
But
time.
But yeah.
Dry
All
for
right.
error.
Yeah,
Frank,
that
I'm
was
talking to you.
a good
No,
one.
but I also agree with you on English Town. I no,
Absolutely not.
not gonna do it.
No, it's not even. It's a non-starter. Like free? No. Nope. All right, Jeff. You and I can answer this. Chrissy, you can perhaps pontificate of what you
Sure.
might think. Right seat instructing. When do you throw that penalty flag of I mean, they're not going to do it, or we're going to do something different? And I've got two examples. One of which
one, so go ahead and I'll sandwich.
One I did throw that I did say no. There was at Summit Point with NASA. My HPD 1 student had a Porsche Cayman R on Hoosiers. And the passenger seat and the driver's seat was a wonderful, nice halo seat. Passenger seat was basically a Kirky. And the seat belts were adjusted so poorly that like I could barely put them on, and there was no submarine belt and they didn't have one. So it was a 4 point. So it was obviously the worst thought out through or afterthought of instructor stuff. And I said, this is not acceptable, especially without the 5th point and the sub belt and the way this is all set up. I'm not going to get in this car and drive it. What the speeds that car is capable of in the hands of an HPD 1 person. And Summit Point's got some spot.
One with
Yeah.
Hoosiers.
It was yeah. The guy it was a younger guy. He has done circle track stuff. They're trying to get him into this stuff. So I knew he's going to have confidence that he may not really be deserved. And Hoosiers that have a very abrupt breakaway, and a Cayman R. That's a fast car.
Yeah.
No, I'm not getting into that with that safety gear. So they had to go to the pro shop and buy new belts and put them in properly. And that barely fit in the seat, but I got in it. But at least having proper belts, I felt like less chance of dying than a poorly adjusted, almost out of date 4 point.
Yeah, I definitely have a right seat story, and this is when I was supercar instructing, and on New Jersey Motorsports on the Dong course. There's only 7 turns, and the straight is really long, and you come out of the bowl. It's not even that long of a straight, but you come out of a very fast, light bulby kind of turn.
I mean, the Civic will do almost 130 down that straight.
Yes.
So,
and at that, we were instructed to not tell them to put their foot down until they were past. There's the little blind, peak.
Yep.
So you could convince them not to put their foot down until after that, because they couldn't see the track. But you could do 140 or 150 in those cars way before the break. And it didn't matter where they were on the track. At 140, I said, it's time to break. I am not going over 140 in a non-caged 3-point belt car, even if it's a supercar, in the hands of an amateur. And I'll be honest, I'm not interested in right seating anymore in non-caged rented supercars on tracks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people just don't understand when you're giving them a weapon, and it's so capable but they have no idea how to possibly do anything with it, except that everyone can step on the right foot. No one ever steps on the middle pedal as hard as they need to.
Yeah. I there's just something about them being untrained, and maybe it would be different if it was their car, because they would at least have some sort of, I don't know,
Driven around the street a few times, you can have an idea what it feels like.
I wasn't even thinking knowledge, but it's their $100,000 that's going to be crashed, not somebody else's. I bought the insurance policy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think people think that way, but I just don't think if they are going to be as familiar with it.
No, what's the familiarity?
No way.
Familiarity is the key. Like you get into our car, Jeff, or you get in the Civic after you haven't driven it in 2 years,
right?
Yeah.
And it's going to take a while to figure that out.
Yeah.
For example,
And in our situation, we can get used to it. And, we have hour-long shifts before we're even out of the major yellows. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's hour 2 where I really want to see you turn it off those times. So,
Yeah, not where I have 3 laps to make it my money's worth. I'm gonna go.
or a 12 lap, like HPD E1 session where I'm telling you to not be on the line.
Yeah.
Or be on that side of the track or be on this side of the track,
Yeah.
I was also just thinking of the common denominator of some of the people that you may have been right seating for. And if you just got out of your Escalade or your Suburban and you're going to get into your 911 or something like that, the juxtaposition of how your body feels and how you're, you
how the
might,
G-forces feel.
Right,
You're absolutely
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
you might,
can you make getting out of the Escalade into the NSX is
right, right. And so that's why I'm just feeling like even if you have not been on track before, maybe, and you're getting into somebody else's car that you've never driven, and you're getting out of your Escalade to get into a supercar, that
or
is
your
just
Ultima.
enough.
Come on.
I was
Sure,
gonna say,
more what I'm worried
or
about.
the other way when
Yeah.
you get out of your race car and you start driving your truck home and you're like,
Sure.
oh, that's too fast for that turn.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I
I've
do that anyway.
Similar thought, Jeff, to use where I was in a C7 Z06 on
That'll
Hoosiers
move.
for an HPD2 student at VIR. And when we're going 155 into the braking zone before the S's, like roller coaster, basically.
For those watching on YouTube, Chris is staring at a track map on his wall.
Yeah.
It is. It's VIR. He's
All
looking.
of a sudden, Chris went, look left.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's VIR.
Yeah, before roller coaster. I was not interested in really getting back in that guy's car because he was being a little too aggressive. Like, he wasn't unsafe, but he would have been a much better driver if he had a Miata on RS4s before he ended up in a Z06 on Hoosiers. Jeff.
Let's talk globally about what we're talking about tonight. We're not talking about things that an actuary might say is unsafe. I mean, some of them are, absolutely. You know what I mean? But what we're talking about is our own personal feelings of safety. So I love what you said there, Chris. It's not that he was being unsafe. It's that I decided that the risk was not worth the squeeze.
Yeah, he wasn't. His attitude was a little too fast for it. Like, he never put a wheel off. But
that's what
I
I'm
felt
saying.
we
It's a
were
gut
close
feeling.
enough. Yeah. Well, I had another student once at Pocono in a 600 horsepower supercharged Mustang, newer Mustang. The car was brutally fast, but the guy respected it pretty well, and he always kept it nicely under control for what it was, where the guy in the Corvette was trying to go fast as opposed to working himself up to it. And that was what was said. And so I basically left it to him. Hey, let's talk about your runs after you go, and then you can go work on things, as opposed to me being in the car with him.
Yep. I love this. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next one I thought about is a race series or a race itself, or anything about it. Is like, is it just too much carnage that you just decide, there's too much going on out here, I'm not interested in playing? I haven't hit this yet, but there's been times where out at Sonoma with 200 cars in the rain, and there are cars pirouetting left and right around me, and people that are going, like, I know where my limits are enough, and there are people going a lot harder than that, and I'm saying, where are you finding this traction? Oh, wait, that's right, you don't have any, and there it goes. So that's probably the one time I was very careful about what's actually going on.
Also, wasn't your car, so there's an additional level of concern.
And I at one of the AER races, the level of aggression was such that I was concerned with being out there and the moves that people were making, the very low percentage moves that were going to take us out. It wasn't enough that I called it.
Was that Summit?
But it concerned me. Yes.
Yeah. I felt that. I only did the short shift in Greg's Mustang. but I definitely felt that this was not a contributing. Like it wasn't. Everybody was not playing the same game. It was
Some
more
people were driving
competition.
a sprint race in an endurance race
Yeah,
and taking chances like they had 3 laps left to win the race.
this is a cooperative
And
sport.
this
at
is
the
on
end of the day.
Saturday.
Right. And that was okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a concern. It's interesting that because I was going to say there's basically never a time where I think there's too much traffic, but I suppose 200 cars is a lot. That
It was mostly because it was 200 cars and it was slick as can be.
sure.
And so many cars were going off every single lap that
Mhm.
it was impressive.
Yeah. I feel like this is crazy, but there have been, and if there's that attitude has been there at other HBDEs, NASA weekends, not Great Lakes, that I felt like that too. And it's crazy to think that there's aggression in an HBD too. But it feels
Oh,
like
I think there is absolutely.
Oh yeah.
the attitude there makes, even if you feel like you should be on par with everybody and maybe you are, they're taking chances that makes you uncomfortable. So that's the one thing that I was thinking of. And we have a special guest on the
Look who's
show.
here.
Hello, Mr. Venzel.
Hello.
Is he driving? Don't do that while
Yeah.
driving.
I'm not typing. I'm just,
Talking.
I can talk.
Okay.
This
Really, I'm
is-
sitting at a stoplight, so.
This is a box of mockery after a tube of mockery is the audio equivalent you have here. The
Oh, you guys sound
acoustics,
great. So,
the
yeah.
acoustics of
Thanks.
the Mazda Miata are apparently not
gonna
the
say,
best.
MX-5 is a tin can, so
Yeah.
literally.
It sounds like he's actually in the tin can.
Oh, I can see Vegas behind you though. It looks nice.
Yep.
Vegas. At night.
I think that's a 7-Eleven. But yeah, it's big.
Okay, good.
No,
Same
it
thing.
panned when you made the
It's a
turn.
very fancy 7-Eleven, apparently. That's really what it
Maybe.
is. Yeah.
Oh boy, YouTubers are going to enjoy this one. Check it out. You can
Yeah.
see,
So Mental, we're
Mental.
talking about our track related safety limits. And we've gotten through several of these right now. So our next one was going to come up to be personal performance. How many mistakes can you make before you realize you are not on your game? Like when do you decide like something's just wrong? Like maybe you don't feel bad. Like I feel fine. Everything seems all right, but I have done enough wrong that I don't think I should be here anymore. And the example I'll use that we usually use in our team is if anyone gets 2 flags for mistakes, something's not right in the head and they should probably stop. But it depends on what it is. It's not a hard rule every time
I
because
was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you just got 2 flags in the last race. So there's
it was
that.
a couple races ago. And
No,
one of
that's
them
New
I
Hampshire.
made. Yeah. No, this wasn't that race. It was a
Oh.
year before that. And one of those is one where I was specifically trying a new line and specifically trying something different and it wasn't going to work. And rather than barely try to squeak it out and hit that massive ditch, I said, nope, I'm just going to go 4 off out and take the safe route out. So I didn't think that was a mistake. But there are other times where I've definitely made mistakes and thought, all right, I need to tighten up. I need to slow down a little bit, focus, and really do that. Because I think if you get 2 flags for mistakes while you're out there today, my opinion is that you're probably not going to get any better that day.
Yeah, I know this one for me. If I make a mistake that gets me a flag that I know that I did wrong, like yellow, pass under yellow that I didn't see, that's my error. But like if I did something wrong and went off the track and I did it because I made the mistake, it only takes one for me to say time to reevaluate. And I might not pull myself out of the car, but I will change what I'm doing and start the assessment process of what did I do wrong? Why did it happen? And what can I do to change it? I need to back down to, if I was doing 80, I need to back down to 60%. That is, you know what I mean? Like 100% is using every tire and every brake. 80% is where we try and live in an endurance race. If I thought I was going 80% and I did something stupid and I caused, if I cause someone else too, like, if I push somebody off the track, if I do that, I kind of pull back and say, reevaluate what's wrong with you. Why did you do that? That was out of character. You made a mistake.
Go ahead, Mental. What do you got?
All right, I'm check off mental talks too much. Coming from an aviation background, we operate on an operational risk management concept. And Chrissy, I'm sure you guys have a version of this. And it's an attempt of numerically codifying whether or not you should do something. And as we have matured as a team, we've recognized this. And this is something that Jeff was just saying is a percentage. There really shouldn't be any, if you're following the skill, shouldn't be any one thing that you do that says, I'm done. You should start recognizing these situations beforehand. And I'll go back to when the Honda got really fast. We all started to radically curb our drinking the night prior because we recognized that that was going to be a contributing factor no matter what if we were hungover in a very fast, very loud car. We all, Chrissy bought everybody water bottles so that we would stay hydrated so that we didn't find ourselves getting fuzzy or nauseous in the car. So in anything that get in there, you start to contributing, am I familiar with this car? So if I'm making, even something that doesn't get me flagged, but I'm trying to put the car someplace that it doesn't want to go and the rear end steps out, or I end up having to overbrake or lock up a tire, and I'm not familiar with the car, then I've got to reevaluate. And if I can't bring my behavior in line to cooperate with the vehicle, then it's probably time to get out of the car. If I am catching myself getting nauseous, and we talk about this a lot because we do have teammates that do tend towards dehydration, and they recognize that and they immediately pull in and say, my head's not right, I'm coming in 2 laps, grab another driver. So it's these trigger things. If you've got a number of other factors, your limit for mistakes should be absolutely lower. If it's clear, 70 degrees, blue skies, clear track, and you screwed something up royally, yeah, you should probably come out of the car. If you just got to make a 10% drop in your aggressiveness because it's raining, because it's Sunday and it's an East Coast race and everyone's being a jerk and there's been a bunch of spinouts, you don't necessarily have to come out of the car, but you should also have all of that in consideration beforehand because you don't want to do math while you're stressed out.
Oh, totally done math at the end of a race when we're leading. Like, all right, how many laps do I have to? How many seconds is the lap? How many time do we have left?
Right, and but that's not a safety equation. That's a how hard am I going to push it, which does factor into safety. You've never had to make a do I get in and out of the car in the last hour kind of decision because you particularly are very good about evaluating all the contributing factors before you even strap in.
Oh yeah,
because you'll brief us when we're getting in the car. Hey, there's no chance we're going to do this. Don't do anything stupid. Or, all right, we're in contention. Can you perform at this level? And it's before we get into the car.
Yeah. Hey, before we go on, can I go back to the first prompt and ask Mental?
Sure.
All right, Mental. The first thing we talked about today was, what are your hard no's? And this is track related or not track related. What are the things that you are not interested in doing and not interested in taking the risk for? I went on a diatribe about screw skydiving. You're just effing falling.
Just sports that we're not interested in.
It could be anything.
anything.
It could be it could be snakes. I don't care what it is. Chris, what did you say? You said
I said cave diving.
No, deep cave diving.
Like deep caving, like scuba cave diving. Yeah. I said nope, just too much.
Yeah, I could see that. I've never really leaned that hard into it. I'd say the closest thing with my advanced years is I used to love, and I would do dumb things on a dirt bike. But the guys that do like the crazy super jumps, the Travis Pastrana type jump things over that, I would still love to do that, but I have to look at my fitness level, how long it would take me to recover, and honestly, my skill on a motorcycle. And I have to say no, not because I don't want to, but because I know I'll screw it up and end up in a wheelchair for like a year and a half.
We have a friend like that.
Cross
Yeah, I
off
was gonna say.
MX jumps.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Well, the most important thing, if you broke your leg and had to spend 6 months in rehabbing and on the couch, not going to work, you'd learn a lesson and not do it again a year later, right?
Oh, he is mental.
Right?
For those of
Yeah,
you watching,
you
not
know,
watching on YouTube, he got the shaky hand. I might screw that up again.
No, yeah, because I've definitely made the same mistake, and it'd be like, oh, well, it's only because I did this thing, this one action, and this time it'll be different. It's totally not different. It's the fool you once or fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. All right,
won't get
dude, like the
fooled
fourth time, are you sure you just don't enjoy this?
Yep.
All right, we could go back
Some
to the
people
prompts
have to
now.
touch a hot stove twice.
Yes.
Or
Basically.
3 times, or
Yeah.
making sure the stove's still on.
Some people like how it feels.
Okay.
All right, Chris, what's the next prompt?
The condition of the car. This is the last racing one we have. Is when is the car bad enough that you're gonna say, nope. Jeff.
10 years ago,
Yeah.
5 years ago, 1 year ago. I think they're different.
Oh, it's sure, but it can be now. Any of those. Well,
I'm going to tell you the
started.
one
I know.
that got me out of the car. And it was an inconsistent brake pedal. And you know that we've already discussed this. I don't notice when the suspension is not doing the right things. I just go, well, yeah, the rear end broke loose a lot. And you're like, well,
Jeff, you
it's
didn't notice the
broken.
ball joint was actually not attached.
It felt
That time, and you're just like, this car is so loud and smells so bad. Didn't you notice that the exhaust? I mean, it was
Yes, yes.
loud, but just keep racing.
So I will obviously have a propensity to drive around suspension problems.
You know what? This is
But-
when Chris says in your ear, harden the F up.
Yeah.
And
But
so we
brake
say,
problems,
okay.
I drove El Jefe when it was not campaigned by us. And I did a couple of laps at Thompson. And I was like, oh no. Oh no, I don't want to do this anymore. And yes, Bill is probably listening, and Bill was the owner at the time.
They fixed it after that. They knew it was a problem too.
I know, but when I was driving it, I was like, there is something wrong with this braking system, and I do not feel safe, and I would like to get out now. Please punch my ticket.
I'm laughing about your example of what El Jefe is when it moves on to the new owner. That was
should I say it now?
I think that's
I
why
said,
I'm laughing
like,
so
when you're
hard.
at college and you go home and your friends who never went away and they picked up like a little meth habit and they've been drinking a lot and hanging out at the bowling alley, and you're like, yeah, I know you're the same person, but I'm not interested in hanging out with you anymore.
I'm pretty sure you made that long story longer, but the concept is wonderful.
It gets better every time he tells it.
I know.
Yeah. Mental, you had one on these. Go for it.
I'm going to steal this from somebody else. And it was, we had him on the show, Todd Carver, and he was talking about, he got invited to help out a team in Oklahoma near his house. And then they asked him if he wanted to drive it. And he is a very engineering checklist minded kind of person. He said, yeah, blah, blah. And he was asking a few questions about the car. He's like, all right, and you guys, when you brought it off the practice session, did you bleed and check the brakes? And the owner of the car squared up, looked him right in the eye and went, no, why? They were fine. And Todd goes, no thanks, I'm good. I'll just help you guys wrench all weekend. Had no interest in getting in a car where they just did not want to check the most basic safety items. And I love that Chrissy said 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a year ago, those answers are all different, because that is definitely, and it's, I think if you've been around to see it go wrong, either with your team or somebody else's team, that becomes one of your things that you check. And people that don't want to just do the most basic once around of a car afterwards, I'm not even getting in the car, because there are things going wrong with it that you don't know, that are insidious, that you haven't been tracking, and I'm not going to be the one that's in it when it literally breaks in half.
I
Sometimes
think,
literally.
yes, right.
Yeah.
I think, and maybe that goes along with the 10 years ago, when I'm thinking of how poorly the Citroen was driving at some points, when it was so slow, and it went from pretty darn slow to sputtering. And I think this is getting at what Chris's suggestion is going to be. That was okay, but how fast the race series has gotten, that's what I'm thinking, that there's some cars out there that were braking, and that was okay. And now there's just the speed differential in different series, but I think that matters now. Chris,
Yeah,
did
I've
you
done this.
say your example?
I've done this twice, where I have either called it while in the car. Well, that's recently at New Hampshire in the Mazda.
I cried.
We had 10 minutes
a lot.
left, and the car just wasn't working. And the biggest difference for me was that 10 minutes before had been tearing through the field and no one's passing me. And now I am struggling to get up the hill. So it's not like the Citroen or the Rolls Royce.
Right. Sure.
The Rolls Royce, it goes around, it stays on the inside. Everyone knows it's there. Everyone doesn't expect it. You're going to go around it.
Rolling
Fine.
roadblock.
Right.
People are prepared for.
Right. But everyone knows it's there. It's about managing expectations. When the car that just blew by you 4 times this stint
Can't make it around.
now all of a sudden is going 40 up the hill, you're not expecting that. That's not in your vision. That's not a target threat that you worry about. And so when I couldn't do it, and I didn't think it was getting better, I thought it was getting worse, I was worried about making another lap and didn't want to be a sitting duck dead in the road that someone was not expecting to see. So I said no, and yeah, lost the class win that we had.
Mm-hmm.
The other one I'll say is the RX-7. When we were testing it at Jersey, and I got in the car, and my helmet was wedged between the roll bar and the seat. And I said, no, no, I'm not taking this out.
Yeah.
No, we have to fix this. I'm not driving this car this way.
And I'm glad you were, because I was about to pull you aside and say, don't do this. This is stupid. But you'd already made that decision, which, the fact that we even test fitted ourselves on that car kind of shows a little bit of maturity, I think, in our as a team.
Well, it also helped when we realized, that was the one that I think you tried to go in forward and got stuck. You went head first. I'm pretty sure it was head first. So I'm pretty sure once we're all pretty tall. So I'm pretty sure if one of us didn't fit, then we all got concerned.
Well, and that's the problem. I measured it on me and I fit. We didn't measure it on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But those are the things. This is just, if something goes poorly, it's going to go very poorly.
Yeah, and I don't think any of us even dreamt of not considering that a limit. When I saw my brother in it, I was like, yeah, we got to fix that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Last
we're
prompt.
good. This is a good list.
I feel like the last prompt is kind of like just the
It's
tip.
like just the tip. It is. Well, let's kind of roll it all together.
Sure,
This is
sure.
just the tip.
Chrissy really wants to yell
on
it.
topic.
We're not, but okay, this is now just the tip. How is this just the tip?
I like this. Just the tip.
Okay, fine.
Well, wait, there we go. See, we have to announce.
I know. I was waiting for Jeff to do it.
Okay. Just the tip.
You didn't like when I did it earlier, so that's fine. Okay. Safety limits while not driving. There are things that you do. There's PPE you're supposed to wear, blah, blah, blah. What are your absolute musts? And anything that makes you squeamish. That's a new ad. Okay.
I'll start if you want me to.
Go for it.
So eye protection is the PPE that I feel unsafe when I'm not wearing. And
Knee pads.
no, the knee pads are not safety to me. The knee pads are comfort to me. But eye protection, like when I get under a car and I'm not wearing glasses, I feel like, something's wrong. I gotta get out.
Except you'll weld without a face
Well,
shield.
that's different.
It was like 3 times.
It's like stuff coming at me. No, but even like under the car or using the grinder or all of those things, I love my safety glasses and I will wear them under the welding helmet.
You'll wear them instead of the welding helmet.
Squints and squeeze.
Oh
Squints and
my God.
squeeze.
Okay,
It's
so
only
I am
happened once or twice.
once or twice. I'm interjecting.
But
I
I
agree.
will say that it comes from getting things in my eyes, and when things go around my eyes, it freaks me the hell out. Even when I'm wearing glasses, sometimes things get in it, and I hate that.
Completely same. I wear safety glasses literally all day. Also, I don't want things in my eyes, but I don't want things in y'all's eyes. Like I don't want to work around you guys and then have something to go in your eye and then I have to bring you to the hospital. So I completely agree.
Hospitals
That's
are
not my
closed.
answer. But...
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm the most concerned about things that have a whole lot of force behind them and are also sharp. And my example is the log splitter. As I'm using the log splitter, I use it for several days in a row. And I always took an extra half second as I'm using it to make sure my hand is in the right place. Because if it's not, that is a life-changing thing.
Crushing blow.
It is a sharp blade with a 25-ton Honda-powered press. If your thumb is wrong, goodbye. That's it. It's just gone. That's it.
And there wasn't a whole lot of safety stuff on.
Oh, there was nothing. You had a lever. Yeah.
Wasn't the lever upside down on one of them?
On one of them, it was upside down.
Okay.
It was different on the two. So that's even better when it's not counterintuitive or when it is counterintuitive. So yeah, those kind of things that one small mistake could really change your life. I really like to care.
You
about
added
that.
your answer after I added my answer.
No, did I?
Yes, you did.
Oh,
You're taking.
oh,
my
the other
answer.
thing, I didn't read your answer. I just put mine down because I'm worried about the log splitter.
Fine.
But over the years, I've decided I really prefer wearing gloves. It's somewhat of a comfort, but somewhat of a thing, because back in the day when I used to wear some stuff as in my 20s, my hands got all jacked up. I mean, there were just scars everywhere. And I said, gloves are a pretty easy way to solve that problem.
I like it.
Fortunately, Mental sent me a box that fell off a truck somewhere. So
We have lifetime supply.
Yep.
Oh,
I like gloves, but they're comfort more than safety for me.
Mm-hmm.
They're just the abrasions are annoying.
Yeah, obviously you don't care because you get baths in my sinks when you come to eat lunch at my house.
One goat, just one goat.
Every freaking time.
Just
week.
one.
One goat. A weekend. A day at the weekend.
Or
Okay.
you can grab their hind hooves and put it in your socks.
You're whatever. Okay, so I'll go and then Mental can go. I think it's really hard because I have to set a good example because it's my job. But I really don't like machinery that can really hurt me or has flying things. I am getting better with cutoff wheels. They're like not my favorite. And if somebody else can do it, I'm going to give it to them. I know you do. That's why I say, can you just cut this for me? I'll do it. But I say no to chainsaws and weed whackers. I just say no. Some people have things in their relationships, and I say I am good with not doing those things. So
exactly, weed whackers, anal stuff, whatever. I don't care.
Sure. Yes.
No kink shame.
Right. Chainsaws, not a fan. All right, Mental.
So I was unprepared for this, and I was thinking about it and everything you guys are saying. It's all consistently the result of an experience we've had. I've had to get rust out of my eyes. So now, it starts to feel uncomfortable. The same way if you get in your car and you don't put on a seatbelt, it feels off kind of a deal. So I don't have a particular thing, but whenever I'm doing something new, dangerous, or different, I am always thinking, what little detail am I missing? And it was a story of a friend of mine's older brother was working on a Jeep installing a stereo. And it was just a series of dumb mistakes. He didn't have a jack stand. He had a bottle jack. He had something hot wired to the battery because he was trying to put it in. And the Jeep fell off the bottle jack, and it didn't crush him, but it pinned him, but it was still on 3 wheels. And then when it did that, the wire shorted out. So the wire's starting to smoke, and he's sitting trapped under a Jeep, and he can't get to his fire extinguisher, and he has to kick the fire extinguisher and then put out the fire and then lift the Jeep off there. And the whole time he was thinking, this is a really stupid way to die. And that's, so I'm always thinking, what little detail am I missing that someone's going to go, Jesus, if that moron had just done this thing, he would still be alive. And it's they call it the Swiss cheese effect in the aviation world. And it's Swiss cheese has holes in it. But when all those holes line up, that's when you have an incident. And it just takes one person or one action to go, you know what, if I'd unplugged this or put a proper cord in this or not taken the guard off of my cutoff wheel and dived into my neck, this incident wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Let me chime in here. Frayed cord, you'll survive. That guard
Where's
on
this
there-
table shocking
Will
me?
you?
Wait. That guard on the grinder, purely decorative. Jack stand? No, mental. You are absolutely 100% right. A jack stand is a 100% item. You use it 100% of the time. You use multiple. You make sure they're right. That will kill you immediately.
My favorite solution to that too is wheels are off the car, put them under the car too, because then
I do
even if
that.
it falls off the jack stand, it falls on the
Absolutely.
wheels. It's not all the way on you.
Yeah. And Jeff and I will always have this disagreement. He always says, pull the guard off of the cutoff wheel. But Jeff doesn't have a giant scar a half inch away from his carotid artery. I do.
I leave them on now, but only because you've all affected me.
Sometimes.
No, I have the one that I took the guard off many
And it's
years
like
ago,
guard is gone.
and I still use it. But everyone since then, I've left the guard on. Side handle. Now you're crazy talking. Why the hell that handle is there? I have no idea. Just get that thing.
I like the option because sometimes if you're somewhere, again, me and cutoff wheel, that's the problem. Oh, I know.
Or
This
if you're doing like a lot of surface work, I like being able to take some of the pressure off the one hand and control it. Yeah. The
I
side
agree.
handle.
Cool.
Okay.
Anyone else got anything else?
This is a great topic, Chris.
This is a
Thank you
great
for
topic.
this.
Yeah, good job.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And because we're doing it, we'll ask our listeners, hey, what did we miss? What's your personal safety limit?
So
What
much.
story do you have that you wish, if I'd have done X, Y, or Z, my pinky wouldn't be all jacked up or something.
Yeah, and we
That
said this
one night
before.
in Phuket.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about your gut. So no shame if someone is saying something that you feel comfortable with. I have no problem with all of you all using the guards, and I agree with you. It's just not in my gut. So it's all about your gut, everybody. Tell us what makes you feel, what did we say, squeamish?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we have any idea what we're doing next week?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
because this wasn't as planned either. So who knows?
Well, I'd like to say thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Just caress the thumbs up button, the like, the share. Do whatever you can for us. If you like us, make other people will too. If you have any questions or show ideas or want to tell you what makes you shaky in the woozies, write us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can still text us 484-243-0455. Find us on Instagram or Twitter. Slide.
Got a great text of an awesome hood ornament today from one of our listeners. It's fantastic. He has a Gumby.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Is there a pokey with it? That's
Nope,
a joke.
just Gumby.
Just Gumby.
Says
All right.
everyone loves it. He comes out and sees the hands moved.
Nice. Yeah, you can text Mental 484-243-0455. Slide into our Instagram or Twitter DMs, YouTube, Facebook, Everyone Racers, even Reddit /E1R. Thanks again, and till next week, keep the woozies out of your belly by making sure those wheels are down. That one went weird. Sorry.
Not your best.
That's it. What are you gonna do?